Just to start it off, obviously it's good to be to this point of the year where, once we hit Wednesday, we'll be in our in season mode. Um, Obviously, it's been a different off season. It's been a different training camp. Not playing preseason games, rolling right into the season. I think our guys have done a good job of handling really, this entire process very well. This is not the time for us to change how we're doing things as far as, guys just taking the precautions needed, following the protocols. I think guys understand that, and we're looking to stay focused as we head into the season. The deeper we get, we did vote for captains today. I'll announce that on Wednesday after the players are informed of how our captain vote went, and then I'll let you guys know before we head out to practice on Wednesday. And with that, Joe, you got it.
Just to piggyback on what Coach Gase was saying, I just want to acknowledge the hard work of everyone in this entire organization. Everyone's done a great job managing through the COVID protocols, the procedures, the rules. And over the last month and a half, I mean, all we've asked for is all everyone's could give, and they've given everything that they could, and that goes for players, coaches, staff, and to this point, we feel good about where we are. Over the weekend, there's a lot of difficult decisions for the cut down. So I want to take this time to thank all the players for their hard work and sacrifice, whether they made the team or they didn't make the team. But the guys on this roster, they're Jets, and they're going to represent this organization and this fan base well. They have the character, they have the competence, they have the commitment that we're looking for when we talk about what we want in a New York Jet. We're all excited to be in the regular season now. I think a couple months ago, people thought we wouldn't be where we are right now. So we're excited, and we have a great opportunity, great challenge of opening up on the road against a 2019 playoff team and a divisional opponent. So that's all I got.
Hey, Joe, this is Mark Cannizzaro from the Post.
Hey, Mark.
How you doing? Can you talk a little bit about obviously, it was a little bit whirlwind for you last year, and this is a constantly changing environment. But for yourself, are you starting to now see a construction of a roster that you envisioned, and how far along are you in that process right now? Just ballpark figure. I know it's an evolving situation.
Yeah, I think when I first got here and I got up in front of you guys in the open press conference, I had a clear vision. We had a clear vision, and Adam and I shared that vision of what we wanted this team to look like. And, I feel like we've been on the same page in getting the right type of people in this building, in this locker room. And I think you started to see that come to fruition this camp.
Are we still in early process right now, or obviously there's I'm not looking for you to put a
look. The process is going to be ongoing. We're never going to be satisfied with where we are, but I think the communication between me and Adam has been great, and like we've always talked about, we share a vision on what we want this team to look like.
Joe, do you have any roster moves that you could? There's been some tinkering the last 24 hours with guys on IR and re-signing guys. Can you update us on that?
Yeah, there's some roster mechanics and a couple more roster gymnastics. I would say I was brought up by someone today that need to go on. Those will be announced later today. I still need to communicate some of those things with the players, but those will be announced later today.
Joe, can you talk a little bit about the waiver wire process and how it was different this year than last year, and what kind of went into I don't know if you guys put in claims and just weren't awarded players, or if you decided to kind of stay out of the waiver process this year?
Yeah, obviously different this year with no preseason games, and I think you saw that across the league with the amount of claims being more than half fewer than in years past. And so I think a lot of that had to do with the times we're in. A lot of that had to do with the lack of preseason games. So I think you really were forced to have 2018, 2019 tape, and then college reports to go over your decisions. And so I think our pro staff did a great job of kind of pinpointing the right people. It just worked out that we didn't have any claims this year, but I'll tip my cap to the pro guys because just about everybody that they brought up was on that claim list. So our guys did a great job.
I have a question for both of you. Do you guys think that Sam Darnold has enough weapons around to be successful? And how do you feel about the job that you did, assembling the supporting cast for Sam this year?
Who do you want to answer that first, me or coach?
Joe, you can go first.
Yeah, I think the weapons around Sam. I think we're excited about a lot of guys, and it's this group's it's going to evolve through the year. Obviously, Denzel missed some time on the grass, Rashad missed some time on the grass, but we're excited about this group. We're excited about the playmakers we have.
Yeah, I think the injuries in training camp, it was hard to get a good picture of what I think we're going to end up being as the season evolves, the improvement we're going to make, the chemistry will develop as the year goes on. I do think, getting Chris Herndon back is one of the guys that nobody really talks about, which obviously him and Sam have phenomenal chemistry together. With Lev and Frank back there and now P. Ryan coming around and really starting to make impact plays. And then now you throw the wideouts in and just trying to get that group really sync together and Crowder obviously leading the charge and what we have envisioned in our minds, we just haven't been able to really get to do it on the field because we haven't been healthy yet. And I think, the fact that we're trending in the right direction as far as health-wise heading into this week of practice is really exciting for us.
Joe, how will you define a successful 2020 season? What do you want to see for it to be considered that?
Yeah, I think we're gonna be where our feet are, and right now we have a great challenge in going up and facing a division opponent that was in the playoffs last year. And so I know that there's a lot of hungry guys that want to go out there and just prove a lot of people wrong, frankly. And so I'm excited for this week of practice. I'm excited for the season, and I'm excited about these group of guys we have going up to Buffalo this weekend.
After going 7-9 last year, what's your expectation this year? What's the natural progression for this team?
Well, look, I mean, everyone's goal is the same at the end of the year, right? I know you and Kaz are trying to get the splashy response. I mean, everyone's goal is to be holding up the trophy at the end of the year. To do that, you need to go through a progression. And you need to get in the dance. You need to win the division. You need to win the conference. You need to win the whole thing, win the Super Bowl. So again, we're trying to take it day by day, week by week, not to sound too cliche.
You successfully didn't give us the splashy headline, Joe.
Sorry, God. Sorry, Rich.
Just could you take us through the decision-making process at quarterback beyond Sam this weekend with, what you had to do with Flacco and then Mike White and James Morgan and David Fales?
Yeah, obviously you guys know my feelings about the quarterback position, and it's the most important position in professional sports. So, we had 5 on the roster in camp. We have 5 on the roster right now through active roster and practice squad, and we're excited about all 5 of those guys, and all 5 of those guys, are going to help us. So, we activated Joe off of PUP Saturday. And we're gonna take it day by day. See where he's at today, tomorrow, and then Wednesday when we get on the field. But we are always going to put a premium on the quarterback position.
Adam, it's Kim Jones from NFL Network. Can you hear me?
Hey Kim, how are you doing?
Hey guys. I'm curious, Adam, if when you say trending in the right direction injury wise, does that mean Denzel and Rashad might be back on the practice field this week? And Joe, if I could follow with you about Denzel, has it crushed your football soul that this guy that you guys were so excited about didn't run a route during camp?
As far as, Denzel goes, getting him out there those last couple of days, an individual, getting to do some routes versus air, obviously he continued doing the rehab, his process of rehab on the days that we weren't practicing. He's feeling better and better, each day. He was able to, keep working, through his route progression and getting his, strength back and his stamina back. I mean, he's working hard to get himself in the right position heading into this week. So, we'll see how this week of practice is going. I'm feeling a lot better about where we are now than where we were 2 weeks ago. And Burchard, get him out there. I mean, just watching him run right now, it seems like he's feeling a lot better. Just excited to get these guys in practice.
Yeah, Kim. That's a pretty aggressive crush your football soul. I love it. I might use that in one of my reports next spring. But no, I mean, listen, Denzel's going to be back, so I'm excited. Obviously, you'd love to see him run routes and one-on-ones, beating guys, beating corners, going up and getting the ball. And you'd like to see that early, but look, there's been a lot of teams dealing with soft tissue injuries, through the acclimation period and throughout training camp. And so, unfortunately, Denzel didn't get to really do a lot of live action in training camp. But everyone in this organization is still very much excited about getting him on the field and having him help us this year.
Joe, obviously you can't do everything at once, but in these last number of months since last year, what are you most happy about what you've addressed and helped, from 19 to 20 here?
Yeah. I'm not going to be happy until we win a Super Bowl, but I will say that I've been impressed with the professionalism and the maturity and the mentality that our offensive line has shown through training camp. And I think when you brought in guys like GVR, Greg Van Roten, and McGovern, Adam with Alex Lewis, George Fant. I mean, from day one, those guys have been mature, professional, hungry, motivated, and they've tried to build a chemistry and help their teammates. And and even Mackay, him coming in and him showing a professionalism, maturity that you don't see in rookies. It's been pretty cool to see for the last few weeks.
That obviously was so much was made of. That was kind of your number one thing that, obviously being a former lineman and with yourself and whatnot, and in the things you told Sam, it sounds like you really like what you brought in that aspect there. And you've kind of checked a box there, for lack of a better term, in terms of what your goals were in the offseason. Is that a fair assessment?
I mean, look, there's been some good things in training camp. We need to build off that. I'm not ready to say we've checked any boxes we've got. We're always going to try to upgrade this team, make this team better when the opportunity presents itself. But I know these guys are excited to get out in the field and show what they got.
Adam, are you going to use?
Hold on, everyone. Hold on. Before the next question, we will have Coach Gase for a few more minutes. We will have Joe for longer. But if you have any questions for Coach Gase, please ask them now.
Yeah, I have one for Adam. Adam, are you going to use one of your quarterbacks in a remote fashion, the way the Eagles are using McCown?
We're going to get through this week. This has been something that we've discussed a lot. This week we won't. We're going to kind of do it a little different. But moving forward, this is something that we've had this discussion for a long time, since kind of really the spring. So we're going to keep discussing what we think the best move for us to do. I know this is like you want to know this bad. So, I mean, we'll let you know right away as soon as we decide what we want to do here going forward.
Well, it seems to make sense. You got 5 of them, right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, Joe's an O-line guy, and he stacked that O-line up. I'm a quarterback guy. Like having a lot of quarterbacks.
Adam, do you think it's realistic to expect this team to be a playoff team this year?
I think really for us is Joe just hit it on the head, and we got a lot of time between now and the end of the season. I mean, we're focused on this week. We're focused on being where our feet are. We know what our goals are. We're always going to be looking to play in January. But where we're at right now, we're in week 1. We got a long ways to go. We got a lot of improvement.
Yeah. This is Canizaro from the Post again. Can you, with regard to Joe, kind of the things I was asking him a little bit, you talked about the vision that he has with players, and it seems like you're very much in concert with him there. What are, how do you describe the kind of, roster construction and whatnot that or an identity you want for this team as you've been building it now? The new pieces.
I'm really excited about this locker room. I love the way this group operates as a unit, the entire team, the way that these guys, that just being around these guys throughout this process, starting in the spring, the fact that we were virtual and once we started practice, just seeing these guys interact with each other, the conversations that these guys, openly have, the way this locker room does things as a group. I've been really impressed with how these guys operate day in and day out. I mean, I can't think of a better group of guys that I've been around, to where these guys come in, they go to work every day, whatever's asked of them, they put their head down, they go to work. I mean, I'm really excited. When you come to work here, you're fired up to be around these guys day in and day out.
Just as a quick follow, what about your impression of Joe himself, who obviously when you guys first got together, his hands were a bit tied because, things were already constructed in front of you. This off season and the way you guys have been working together, can you just speak to kind of what he has done to help you guys?
Yeah, I mean, the communication's outstanding, obviously, but, we've known each other for a little bit. I mean, it's, our dialogue is smooth and there's so much great back and forth. I enjoy, our entire personnel staff, our coaching staff, everybody works really well together. It's just the conversations, even the uncomfortable conversations, aren't hard to have. I mean, we're not afraid to have those conversations, and we all have the same goal in mind. We all know what we're working to try to get to, and that's really the main focus of everything is how do we put ourselves in the best position possible to give ourselves an opportunity to play in that last game, and we're just going to keep working to do that.
Hey, Adam,
hold on one second. Coach Gase has to go. We will still have Joe Douglas, but Coach Gase has to go. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Joe, I remember this off season when you were talking about kind of rebuilding the offensive line. You spoke, I believe it was back at the combine a couple times, about not necessarily finding the 5 best players, but finding the 5 right players. It seems like you've kind of been able to do that because these guys have been able to find quick chemistry and they genuinely seem to enjoy each other's company. So could you just talk about that process and how you were able to piece, like you would kind of describe as the right 5 players up front?
Yeah, I think the process starts back to the information we had on these guys and the information that our scouts were able to get on these guys going back to their college days, and kind of the profile we were able to build up on each guy's individual character, and whether or not that matched up with what we were looking for, when we're talking about the intangibles a player has. And, I don't know if there's an exact science on when it comes. It's funny because we talk about chemistry and team chemistry, and I don't know if there's an exact science to that, to team chemistry. It sounds like an oxymoron, but I think if you get as many good people together as possible, usually good things happen. And so I think the common bond with this group is that these guys care, these guys want to win, and so you feel like everyone's pulling in the same direction, which is a big thing, and a lot of it goes to the mentality of players. A lot of it goes to the mentality of the O-line coach and Coach Pollock, and the vision that Adam and Dow have for the offense. So look, there's a lot of plays to be had in the season, and no one's saying that this is the Hogs or anything crazy, but this is a group that you see getting better every day.
Joe, you're among the league leaders in cap space. So I think a lot of fans might be wondering why not spend it to make this year's team better. And your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think our mindset is if there's the right player and the right opportunity. Look, one thing I would say is that I'm not bound to any restrictions. When it comes to ownership, I know there's been reports out there. I have full autonomy when it comes to roster decisions, and I work hand in hand with Dave Sosi on football administration on salary cap. So basically, we have a vision, we have a game plan of what we're trying to accomplish, and we want to have the flexibility. So when the right player presents itself, the right opportunity, we are going to be aggressive. And I feel. I'm sure it may seem like we're not doing that right now, but we do have a vision and plan.
Joe, can you maybe be a little more, obviously without, competitive disadvantage, but a little bit more specific about what that vision is?
Yeah. In terms of cap space, and I'm not going to get into all the specifics, but, basically we see it as, a dollar you spend, today could be a dollar you don't have for next year's cap. And so we're sitting here and we have a lot of uncertainty in terms of next year's cap number. We know what the floor is at 175. So we also, we know that could change. We don't know when we'll have the answers to that. So, we have to have a game plan on how we're going to handle both this year and next year and the years moving forward. So, I don't know if that answered your question, but
why didn't you sign Logan Ryan in May?
We had discussions with Logan Ryan's representatives. We could never find the common ground to get that deal done.
Did a story in the Daily News that people in the organization believed you guys were going to sign Logan Ryan impact your decision to stop pursuing him?
No, we had discussions with his representatives after that report came out.
Hey, Joe, you said a little while ago you think the guys on this team want to prove people wrong. So you're aware there are skeptics out there about this roster. Looking at it just from outside in, your MVP from last year is now in Seattle. CJ opts out. There's not a lot of guys who have lengthy resumes on this roster outside of Le'Veon and Frank Gore. What would you say to those skeptics who kind of don't see it right now, don't see how this team can be a playoff team?
Yeah, Kaz, our guys don't live in a bubble. We see the things that are said, we see the things that are written, and it angers a lot of people. I understand the question. Obviously, you stated that there's good players that were on this team last year that aren't playing this year. But just going through this camp, I can tell you that there's some guys on this team that may not be household names, but they're good football players. And their mission is to go out and become a household name. And I'm excited, and I know I said excited too many times. Jared's gonna yell at me. But I'm excited to see these guys go through camp and how hard they've competed, and they've got a lot to prove, and they're excited to do it.
So, what are your expectations for Sam, and specifically, what areas would you like to see him improve?
Yeah, I think one of the things that he improved on last year, and I touched on it in previous conversations with you guys, is decision making. He got to a point in the back half of last year he wasn't making the same mistakes twice, and that's just a natural growth process for a young quarterback. And he's been in the league for 3 years, and he's 23 years old, so he's going through growth much sooner than most quarterbacks his age have gone through in the National Football League. So just watching him, his ability to digest Adam's playbook and just operate at a quicker pace. There's just that half second, a quicker decision, quicker release. You see that in training camp, and it fires you up. And so, just seeing him grow, just watching him grow within the offense, and then also watching him grow and mature as a person and a leader. not being afraid to have tough conversations when he has to have them. And that's just part of a 23-year-old quarterback becoming a franchise quarterback and maturing into that role and just taking on more and more responsibility.
Take a couple more for Joe.
Joe, what went into the decision to cut Jonathan Harrison? That was a surprise to a lot of us.
Yeah, Andy, that's a good question, and that was an excruciating conversation. And that was a very tough conversation for me to have, because I have a ton of respect for Jonathan. I have a ton of respect on how he handled last year. I said it to you guys in a conversation last year. I have a ton of respect for him now. I was very clear on why we made the decision to him in my communication with him. I told him how much I respected him. I'm not going to go into the specifics of what was said, but ultimately, we felt it was the right decision for the team moving forward, and we certainly didn't close the door to him coming back at some point.
Joe, what do you think of the job Adam's done kind of handling this offseason and training camp and sort of the unusual circumstances of this year?
Yeah, Adam's done as well as anybody in terms of rolling with the punches and adjusting on the fly. And, we've all had to do that to a degree. But, when he's operating a coaching staff and 80-man roster, the communication has been on point. The communication has been direct, and the leadership has been strong. And so, I've been really impressed.
Joe, with the COVID protocols, how did that affect your thinking on the waiver wire in terms of, guys may not have been able to get in here until later in the week, and moving forward, how does that kind of impact your decision making? Yeah,
we've had to adjust on the fly. There's been several protocol changes in terms of testing. And so there was also a recent change to that this weekend. The bottom line, so we made 4 claims last year. And 3 of those guys are still on our team. So the bottom line is, if there was someone on the roster, and not to say that we weren't interested in anybody, but we were at the position this year where we felt that hey, there are challenges to get guys in. We feel good about the depth and the roster we have, the competitive nature of the guys we have. And we felt that, on the waiver wire, it had to be a special player to really pursue hard. And so we didn't have a claim this year.
Joe, sort of rolling that forward then with the COVID stuff, how will this affect you signing street free agents during the season? Typically you'd have a bunch of guys in for tryouts Tuesday, maybe sign one. How was that going to change this year?
Yeah, I think you saw that in training camp, and I think our guys have done a really good job of acclimating to that. You have to get these guys in sooner. They have to go through several tests, and then they can get in the building, do a physical, do a workout. I think it's in terms it's just that we're going to have to be a couple steps ahead. It's not a last minute thing, and not to say it was ever a last minute thing, but if you're calling a player on Friday to have them come in Sunday night for a Monday physical, obviously that time frame changes. You're gonna have to start those conversations and that travel a lot earlier. And so we're staying on top of it. The framework of our meetings and how we operate, and our decision to bring those players in hasn't changed. It's just we're going to start it a little bit earlier.
Are there any additional questions for Joe?
Yeah, I have one last question. I was wondering why you guys didn't pay Jonathan Harrison his playtime bonus last year when he came up short, because he only came up short because Ryan Khalil took over his spot.
Right. In terms of I've never been around a team or a company that's had a track record of paying someone for an incentive they did not reach. But obviously, like I said, I have a ton of respect for Jonathan. players have a lot of incentives in their contract, different incentives, play time, performance, interceptions, Pro Bowls. And if they don't hit them, they aren't paid. So really it wasn't a slight on the player. Obviously respected, it just wasn't an incentive you didn't hit.
Hey, Joe, I have one more. Just from a pro scouting standpoint, what are the challenges with getting ready for a team? I know Buffalo's in your division, but with no preseason games and all that, Buffalo, San Francisco is going forward. What are some of the challenges and adjustments your staff made with going through this whole unusual offseason?
Are you talking in terms of our pro scouting staff, in terms of advanced scouting?
Yeah, like getting ready for opponents.
Yeah, we've had to adjust. Some in every team, we've asked different teams, how they're handling certain aspects of how they advance teams. But we've had several discussions on how we're handling advances moving forward. We feel good about the processes we have. With technology the way that it is, you're able to get video and information obviously very, very quick. And so we had our advance for Buffalo earlier, and the feedback from our coaching staff was excellent. So I feel good about the processes we have in place in terms of advances for games.